Welcome to the conversation that we have in Squads 2020 Summit Orientation. We welcome, Carmelo Anthony, all-star, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. How you feeling today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Trying to just adapt to what's going on out here today. That's all.
Yeah, definitely can dig it. There's a lot going on. We're in the middle of this double pandemic right now that they're calling it of COVID-19, and the resurgence of public racism. Like, what do you feel most hopeful about these days?
I think for me, man, it's I feel hopeful because a lot of times we control a lot of the things that happens to us and around us. It's some things that just we can't control, but it's certain things that we can control. We can control, how we educate ourselves and the things that we read and the people that we talk to and the things that we do, for ourselves and the way that we remain true to ourselves. Doing good deeds and just being assertive out there. Like those are things that we can do. Taking time to yourself and praying and meditating and kind of shifting our mindset and shifting our expectations. Those are things that we can control. So from that standpoint, that's what makes me hopeful.
Is there anything like where we're on social media every day? The news is coming to our phones. It's different than when you and I were growing up and we would have to see the news on television. Now it comes in a text message and you get these updates. Like, is there anything that makes you feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely light. I mean, in life and in just society in general, we as Black people has always been able to adapt to our surroundings and things that's going on in our world. So that alone makes me feel like there is light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still it's going to be some more destroying. It's going to be some more tear downs until we're able to bounce back and build ourselves back up. So that's the time that we're in now. Everything is being destroyed, and sometimes you have to destroy it in order to build it back up the right way. So that's my take on this whole just everything that we're dealing with today.
Absolutely. They always say is you either build or you destroy. Which one are you choosing? And you're one of the people that we've seen is choosing to build. And you like I would consider you a cultural influencer. I'm not just an athlete, more than an athlete, but within that role that you have the ability to shift culture and to move things faster than someone with not as large a platform or with not as large a voice. Like, is there a specific role that you feel that influencers, athletes should play in combating racism and like these economic injustices?
Yeah, I would say this as basketball players, as athletes in general, like we've always kind of been in this lane where we, quote unquote, we have to shut up and dribble or, shut up and pass or, shut up and hit the ball. Like regardless of what it is as an athlete, we've always been told to don't get involved in certain things, right? Stay in your lane. And for so many years, athletes has been quiet. Athletes have been afraid to speak out and talk. And touch on a lot of the topics that we weren't supposed to touch on. That whole world has shifted to where the athletes now are becoming the voices of the community, of our country, of the world. We're taking so many stances on a lot of the things that's going on and the right stance, and positive stance. And, we just tired, we tired of just going out there and in a sense of, shut up and dribble and just go be an athlete. We human at the end of the day. We have family, we have friends, we have close ones that we connected to that are still in those environments that are being affected. So at the end of the day, basketball to me and sports to me now becomes secondary. Because now it's just all about how do we come together and figure this out. What do we have to figure it out? What do we have to figure out? How do we figure it out? Who do we have to talk to? You know what? We're going to start talking. Like, And it's a challenging time for everybody that's out there who sees that. You got the most prominent people that's out there from an athlete standpoint, some of the most recognizable faces in the world and in our sport and our country, and we taking the lead on that. We forcing change, and we want to see that immediately.
Yeah, previously when you look at like the history of like sports and entertainment, there were a lot of people that wouldn't take that time or take that, that initiative because they were so worried about their personal brands. And people like yourself and like these athletes and these influencers of today are putting the cause first before their own personal brands. They're not worried about, jeopardizing this endorsement. It's about, this is something that is really important to us as a culture. And you have younger student athletes or just students in general that are like looking up to you, and they're looking at your generation of athletes and seeing what they should do moving forward. And sometimes they feel like they don't know what to do, or they don't know what they should do, or they don't know how to do certain things. So like, what would you like encourage, them to do to embrace their power, and like, how do they create change?
Well, I go back to, just the world of athletes, speaking out and talking and, demanding change and fighting for what's right. And, I take that back to the 60s, right? And that was the era of the athletes, the Black athlete, when they decided to just come together and use their power and use their voices and platforms to make that change. To fast forward now, we are just building on what those guys created. Mm-hmm. and the foundation has been laid for a long time. We the new era, right? And this younger generation that's coming up now, they the voices. We got to rely on them. We got to give them the information. We got to teach them. We got to give them that understanding and that knowledge, so they could continue to go out there and being that voice and feeling like they have a place in this society, because they do. And this next generation that's of college students and high school students and even kids younger than that, they're the ones that's going to see the change. They're the ones that's going to really, be able to benefit from that change. I don't know if I'm going to see the change that I want in my lifetime. I just don't know. We're going to see some type of change, but I just don't know the real change that we really want. I don't know if I'm going to see that. But this younger generation have an opportunity to establish what they want to see and what they want to have when they get older and when they grow up. So don't never feel like you can't use your voice, or, you obsolete out there, because you're not. Every voice count, every person count, and whatever you feel like you want to do, you have the power to go out there and do that, and you have to believe in that.
Yeah, and they have the numbers to do it. They're a much larger generation, of Generation Y, which is the millennials, and Generation Z, which is what's next or now and next. They are two of the largest generations population wise that we've had in this country in a long time, since the boomers, and maybe even bigger than them. And the way it's predicted now is that by the year 2050, that there will be larger numbers of like Black and brown people than we've seen in the world previously. But like, what type of world? You said that you may not live to see the change that you want, but you're a father. So what type of change do you want to see in the world for your son by the year 2050?
Damn, 2050. That's
man, that's the goal, man.
That is a goal. That is a milestone. I can't even think that far, but my advice to those people that would be, very pivotal in the change that will happen. Let's speak about 2050 and specifically. They're gonna have everything that they really need. They're gonna have all the resources that they really need because of what's being what's being fought today. While we're fighting today, they're gonna benefit that in 2050. We're fighting for, the economic investment in education and health social justice and civic engagement. That's the reason why I started, along with D Wade and CP, the social change fund, because that's who's going to benefit from that. This next generation is going to benefit from that, and they're going to be the leaders. They're the new leaders. We was afraid to lead. We didn't know how to lead. I know for myself, I didn't know how to lead. I led by what I was around, what my surroundings, and I became a product of my environment, which was the streets. I just so happened to make it out the streets, but that's all I knew. I knew my block, I knew my neighborhood, and I knew, what block not to go on and who not to talk to. I knew the fundamentals of survival, but on a smaller scale. Now this new generation and these next generations, they're going to understand the cost of survival, what it's going to cost, but they're going to be with it. They're going to be smart, they're going to be educated, and they're going to be willing to go and fight for what they have to fight for. Yeah. And 2050, that's where they, by that time, hopefully, they will be everything will be beneficial on the things that they done laid today.
You'll be able to see your impact, or see like I'm tangible, see results of what you're working for now, which is what we all might not see it in our lifetime, but it'll be a part of history. They'll be able to look back and say, this is what started that. And it's something that is rare, though. It's rare to have, like you talked about on the athletes in the 60s. They were still fighting for different fights, but still for similar fights. They didn't have Instagram. They didn't have Twitter. They couldn't, reach millions of people with their thumbs. So there was still a time back then that is still continuing now, where pro athletes are like generally, narrowly defined by their sports careers, but they are multifaceted. College students are like defined by their majors, but they're multifaceted. So, like, what is your response to people who try to put us in boxes and make us feel like our impact and focus should be restricted to only what they can see or what they can imagine of us?
Well, we've always been put in a box, literally and figuratively. Like we've always been put in a box for years. That's not going to change, right? What's going to change is the way that we think, right? And I said it earlier of how we shift our expectations on people, and about people. How strong we're going to make, our community in the next couple of years. I think everything that we're dealing with right now is very unfortunate, but this is going to make our community, the black and brown community, that much stronger at the end of the day, because we can't keep fighting this fight like this and losing and not benefiting from it.
Exactly.
We're gonna win a couple things, right? We're gonna win a couple fights. So we just gotta be patient. We gotta continue to fight the fight. We gotta stay with it. And all them the college kids that's out there that's in school who are being pigeonholed, by their major. And just because you have a major doesn't mean that you have to just stick in that lane. I mean, there's so much information out there that we all should be learning. I'm constantly, trying to elevate it and learn and be knowledgeable of the knowledge that I'm getting, right? So it's almost like I'm not fact checking, but I am. Like I'm the knowledge that I'm getting. So it's an ongoing course. It's an ongoing, learning experience that we all gonna continue to go through. But I keep going back, to the college kids, the college students that's out there. They are the most important people right now.
Yeah.
Because, everything is shifting. Even college is shifting. Even the curriculums are shifting, right? So they got to figure out, they got to change their way on how they thinking and, being a little bit more vocal, right? Going into, say, for an example, going into, African-American studies in college. The way that's being taught that's going to change, right? That information is going to be harder to receive, it's going to be more challenging. It's going to be uncomfortable, but we got to be willing to be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
Yeah, but they're going to be studying you because you are a part of Black history. It's like this right now is how we're having this talk right now is through the internet. This is the way that they're going to school right now. this is something that they've had
this
to
is the
kind of
new norm, right? This is the new norm. Not to cut you off. Sorry about that, bro. But this is the new norm, right? We think about it. We having meetings now through Zoom.
Yeah.
We doing virtual back to school sessions right now. I'm up early with my, with my son going, doing his school. So
Same.
This is the new norm. And I wake up every day like, man, this ain't right. This ain't it. We ain't supposed to be living like this, but we are. And this is the new norm. So instead of saying, this is not it, and we're not gonna no, it is, and let's adapt to what this new world order that's happening right in front of us.
Exactly. You spoke briefly before we got into this part of the conversation. You were talking about the social change fund, or you mentioned it. So what was the inspiration behind it, and what is the purpose of the social change fund?
Well, the social change fund it started a couple years ago without us even knowing, right? When we stepped on that stage, for the ESPYs, it was so much going on at that point in time. And I think for myself, it's something that had hit close to home with me, which was the Freddie Gray situation. That was a moment where we stopped and we said, look, our time is to come now and make a statement. And, we putting out a call out there to our fellow athletes and just everybody out there. Like, what are we going to do about this? We've been talking about this is messed up and that's messed up, but what are we going to do about this?
Yeah.
So it went from that, of course, it went from us getting on that stage and kind of calling out our colleagues and, trying to push them, to move forward and speak out and to make change, to now it's like, what was 2.0 to that? Like, what's next? Like, how do we really affect the real change that we really want? So, myself and Chris and D-Wade, we started the social change fund, and we wanted to do it just to invest like back into our communities and support kind of different organizations, that's trying to fight criminal justice reform and, change, policy solutions and, human rights for all Black and brown lives. So it's for, and not just now, but for years to come. So that was the reason behind it. We felt like we all had our own lane and what we was bringing to the table, but that's the way, that's the way you're supposed to do it. That's the way that our community is supposed to come together.
And there's a lot of different orgs that do this work. So how do you select the orgs that you choose to support? Like how do you vet them or just choose the causes even in general?
Well, we kind of stick to some some pillars at the end of the day, right? We have a lot of pillars, but our main kind of pillars is like education, health equity, and and to support community, hospitals and health organizations. We have economic investments. We have social justice and civic engagement. So those are kind of our pillars right now that we're working with. So we try to find organizations that work, that's on the ground, boots on the ground, who's really, fighting for that change and making an impact. And we support them. We invest in them so they can be able to go out there and continue to be on the forefront. Yeah.
And there's a lot of like student organizations that are doing this work too on their campuses and, beyond. So hopefully you guys can connect, with some of them. Speaking, I know we didn't dig too much into sports yet, but I do got to talk about this because I want this jersey. I'm going to keep it in. So how did you arrive at peace for the message that you wanted to display on your jersey for the bubble season?
It was very easy for me.
Okay.
I say it was very easy for me because that's where I was at. That was my state of being. That was my state of mind. I was already working towards finding my peace, right? And just being at peace. And, I wanted, I had a list of other names personally that I wanted to put on the back of the jersey, but, everything happened so last minute. They sent you a list of a couple names that you had to pick. And, it was, I support everybody, in what they put on the back of their jersey, but I just felt like peace to me, man. And that's where I was at, right? It was, it was me finding.
It's important.
It's very important to find your peace and to be at peace, especially I was already on the road of, just kind of maintaining my own kind of inner balance, right? And trying to carve out time, to just sit still and tune in and, disconnecting from, the noise around me and just getting off of social media sometimes and, just putting down my phone and just go to zone out and just getting in tune to yourself. I think we forget about that, about getting in tune to ourselves. And I felt at that point in time, it was very pivotal for me and for what was going on out there in our country and in our community. So that's how I came, with peace.
Yeah, people say that it's most important to be at peace during times of war. So,
well, I mean, you have to, you have to, and then, they always say, it's a saying that I go by, you got to prepare for war in the time of peace, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that's what makes it that much, more powerful. That's what makes peace powerful, because you have all of this going on around you. You have family, you have, your career, you have, businesses that you're dealing with. You got people, friends, you got community. Oh, and we have all of these senseless killings, right? Everything that's happening. So you gotta find that stillness, in the midst of just that tornado, in the eye of the hurricane. Like, you have to.
Mm. Are there any things that you like do specifically to find your peace or like take time for?
Honestly, man, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it was easy, finding my peace. Like, it took a couple years, man. It just really, I had to own it first. I had to acknowledge, like, damn, I need to be at peace with a lot of things that's happening around me. I need to figure this out. Like, I need to really, understand what I'm going through, understand what's happening around me. It was a shift that was happening, around me. It was a shift that was happening in our community and just society. So if we keep going and going and going and not acknowledging the shift that was happening, we never have a chance to sit still and figure out, how we're going to operate and maneuver. So again, that's why, my peace is so powerful right now, where I can sit in the eye of the storm and understand, okay, this is what's happening. This is why it's happening. Like, I get it. I understand it, but I'm going to control the things that I can control.
Yeah. That's what we got to do. It coming from the neighborhoods that we come from, and you got to learn to adapt. Well, one of the things that you said in this during this conversation, and in another recent interview, you said Black people adapt because we've been adapting our whole life. Like, what message do you want to send to the next generation about being malleable and like the need for flexibility as it relates to like survival? Well, you mentioned that earlier too.
Well, survival comes in all sizes and packages, right? It comes at you in different ways. And when I say survival, my survival and somebody else's survival may be totally different. Mm-hmm. But we all have that same skill to survive.
Yeah.
As Blacks, and we've always been adapting. We've always found a way to figure things out. Mm-hmm. Right now it may be clouded. It may be, people second guessing and people going through things emotionally and psychologically, but we always figure it out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it takes, a little bit longer, but we figure it out. And that's me shifting my expectations, right? That's me shifting my mindset. Instead of saying, man, everything is just so messed up, everything is bad, and this is happening, I shifted my mindset, and I said, damn, okay, this is happening because of this. Let me learn why this is happening. Let me myself why it's happening, and then I'll be able to go out there and talk to my community and where as though they would believe what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying and be educated on what I'm saying. So that's me. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, digging deep and like identifying root causes and seeing like these things are not just happening. People say that, people have been saying and tweeting like 2020 is the year of champions, because if you make it out of this, then you can survive anything. And like closing this out, because I know that you a very, very busy guy. You got work to do out there. given that 2020 has thrown us so many curveballs, and how do we adapt a winning mindset to make it out of this year feeling less discouraged and more powerful?
It starts with you. It starts with the individual. Mm-hmm. You gotta want to get better. You gotta want to learn. You gotta want to, to make progress and make change. You gotta change. We gotta change our mindset. We gotta go get it. We always had a hustler's mentality. Even if you don't feel like that, we always had to hustle for everything. I'm 17 years into my NBA career, and I still feel like I gotta hustle for everything. It just is. I wake up every day like, damn, I gotta go get it. Like, what is it? I gotta go get it. Like, I can't let this person go get it without me going to get it. Those are the games the mental games that I play with myself.
Yeah, and we see that.
Keep pushing. We have to keep pushing. We all gonna have bad days. We all gonna have great days, and we might have bad moments. We bad stretches where it's just like, man, we don't feel like being bothered. We don't want to talk to nobody, man. This shit is just messed up, and it's just messing with my head, and it's just, I got family, I got bills, I got rent, I got friends, it's so many things that we have to deal with. But it starts with us as an individual, right? If we don't get in tune to ourselves, and we don't allow ourselves to sit back and sit still and, educate ourselves and remind ourselves who we are and where we come from, we need that.
Absolutely.
But we can't move forward without understanding where we come from. You know what I mean? So that's the educational part. That's, being in tune with yourself and having knowledge of yourself in order to be able to go out there and tackle the issues that's happening.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Is there any last piece of advice that you like to share with the college students? Anything, maybe what you wanted somebody to tell a younger Carmelo?
Yeah, I'm not big on the cliches and all that. I'm just saying, man, like, we gotta hold our heads, like, and that again, that's very cliche, right? Hold your head high,
that's what they've been telling us.
For so long, don't say nothing and keep walking straight. And don't like, that's real though. That's not cliche. When I say, hold your head up high, believe in you, believe in your capabilities, believe in your mindset, know what you want, take time out, for yourself, because I'm sure everybody feel like they've been pulled this way, that way. The virtual school and, the remote schooling now is tough. That's another shift in the system. So y'all dealing with that, man. Just stay strong. At the end of the day, man, don't never let nobody tell y'all that y'all can't do nothing and, pigeonhole y'all and, y'all not supposed to be speaking out and, y'all too young for this and too young for that. You're never too young for anything, man. And, continue to educate yourselves, continue to, to adapt to this new way of learning.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. But the number one thing is be true to yourself. Mm-hmm. If you true to yourself, then good things happen when you're true to yourself. And I'm a prime example of that.
Absolutely, man. Wise words from a very, very decent man. Man, listen, man, you doing amazing work out there. I appreciate you, man. The culture is supporting you, and like, definitely, man, just keep doing what you're doing, because this is what we need. We need more of our stars, of the celebrities, of the athletes, people that we look up to, setting a positive example and showing the youth that it can be done.
No, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the the students that's tuned into this. Continue doing what y'all doing, man. And don't never let nobody say you can't do something.
Exactly.
So I appreciate you guys, man. There's always love. It's always peace, man. And at the end of the day,
mellow. Peace and stay mellow go together. I like that.
Listen, I always tell people, man, when in doubt, stay mellow, man. That's it. That's it.
I like that, man. Definitely, man. Thanks for joining us, man.
Peace, brother.
Peace.